Hey, this is Mike Durr. Listen, I wanted to go over this home purchase process milestones. And for some of you that haven't ever purchased a home before, this may give you some comfort in at least knowing where you're at. And I consider this kind of a map of the course of the next 30 days or less than that, hopefully, in the regards to how the home loan process works. And so what I'm going to start with here is the pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is when you filled out an application, we pulled your credit, you sent us some income and asset docs, and we determined that you would fit into qualifying for some of the loan programs that are out there. And what that does, I liken it to, I don't know if you guys remember or have ever watched the show American Idol. And in American Idol, the person goes in and auditions, sings in front of some judges, and they're awarded, when they're pretty good, they're awarded a ticket to Hollywood. And that's a big deal. Well, the pre-qualification letter is similar to that. You're not getting to go to Hollywood, but you are basically deemed qualified for buying a house, and that's a big deal, particularly for first-time home buyers. The fact that you have gathered enough financial strength to purchase something that is hundreds of thousands of dollars or $100,000 is still a lot. So it's a big deal, but that's the first part, is this pre-qualification deal. And it also will, when you present that pre-qualification letter to either a realtor or a seller, they know that you've been vetted, it's been reviewed, and you are a bona fide buyer, and that you can make a purchase on their property based on the numbers and the stuff that are on that pre-qualification sheet. So it's a big deal. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that to the realtor of your choice, and you're going to say, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, I'd like to look at homes. It looks like I'm qualified for X number of dollars. You go out, you look at as many homes as you possibly want to determine what is going to be best for you and your family. And that's where you're going in and looking at homes. But the next step is you're going to actually start making some offers. And when you do it, when you make an offer, the real estate agent is going to prepare a contract for you. And part of that contract and that offer is going to include that pre-qualification letter. That way the seller knows that you're a bona fide buyer. Now, glory be, happy days, the contract was accepted. What happens now? Well, what happens now is you're going to write an earnest money check. That earnest money is basically funds that commits the property. The seller's making a commitment to sell it to you. You're making a commitment with this money that you're going to buy it. And if you don't buy it, they keep the earnest money. That's the scary part. But you have an option fee that goes along with that. And this option fee allows you to go in and have it inspected. The inspection is a critical part of this home buying process, because what it does, it gives you a 7 to 10 day, most option periods are 7 to 10 days, they could be different, but it gives you a chance to have an inspector, a professional, go in and look at the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the HVAC, just all the parts of the house that could cause you problems in the near future. And you obviously don't want to buy a problem house, a money pit. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So they accept the offer, you've got an option period, and as soon as we get the contract, so when that contract's accepted by you, you've signed, we're going to buy this, then the next thing that happens, you send that contract to your lender, and we're going to issue disclosures. The disclosures are, it's actually a big, heavy-duty package of information, of which 90% of it is not that valuable. It's going to give you the cost of doing the loan. It's going to tell you what your rate is. It's going to tell you what your payment is. And, of course, we're going to explain it completely when you get that. So we do the disclosures. You sign those. And then we're going to take this contract and put it into processing. That's when the loan movement starts happening. In the meantime, you're going to be having that property inspected. Now, the inspection, your realtor will generally refer you to a licensed inspector. I encourage you to follow their advice and whatever they say, unless you know somebody that does that work themselves. Then the next place is, the next little milestone, if you look over there, is a renegotiation based on the inspection. So inevitably, most houses are not perfect. and you're going to have something that still needs to be fixed, corrected, changed on that house before you buy it. And so this gives you an opportunity to go back to the seller and say, you know, I love this house, I have no problem with the price, but I do need you to fix these things. We'll talk about inspections a little more in depth at a different time, but it's a good time to renegotiate. It's the key part here. After that, after you've agreed to buy the house, the seller has agreed to make any adjustments that you chose in the renegotiation, then we're going to order the appraisal. And after we do the appraisal is going to give us an idea of what the value of the property is on the open market compared to other properties that have sold or are currently being sold in that same area that are similar to the house that you're buying. Okay, it's a good market value of what your property is worth. The lender requires that. You want that. Then after we get all that stuff, we're going to send the file to the underwriter. The underwriter is going to review the file, make sure it fits in the criteria of the loan program. Usually comes back with a conditional approval. Conditions are crossing T's, dotting I's, any little things that might be noted on the title, on the appraisal, on anything that we did. And then we're going to complete those conditions to get it clear to close. When we get the clear to close, or actually when we send the conditions in, we're going to send you early CD is what it is. We're going to send you the early CD, and after we do the early CD is going to be very close, if not exactly the same, as the numbers that we gave you in the initial disclosures. And then after we get that, we get the clear to close, then we're going to go and we're going to do our final closing. So that's kind of a map of how this whole process works, and hopefully this was helpful and you can see what's ahead of you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.